How we doing? We live?
Yep.
Ah, we changed my name?
Sure.
Thanks. Hey, everybody. I'm TQ. This is my brother JQ. Say what's up, JQ.
What up, JQ?
Um, we're here to drink some tea and digest, talk about life. Jay, you're gonna have to help me out on this one.
Well, we're drinking sage tea.
Yes, we are. I haven't had a sip yet. I'm about to take a sip.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second because I don't think I can approach anything else yet. Um, Sticking with kitchen herbs right now. You probably have sage tea leaves. The nice thing about these ones that we have that are chopped up, they're still like soft. They're not so dried. When you get it, you get a little bit of what fresh sage tea must taste like. This is somewhere in between, it feels like.
Yeah,
Um,
that's this has. I'm surprised at how good and fresh it tastes.
yeah, it's got it seems like a lot of things like basil, oregano, we keep coming back to these kitchen herbs. As they used to say at New Chapter, the pizza spice blend
Yeah,
for Zyflamen. And it's like these herbs, it seems like marijuana is one of them too, that are dank, kind of stinky, and have high terpene content,
yeah.
are all like anti-inflammatory antioxidants. Sage is cool because it's like a good thing for wound healing and oral health. People swish with it. There's also like a blood sugar element to it. Talking about definitely using in women's health, for nausea, but also just for menopause, also for cycle support. And
Um,
then hopefully there's like people talk about it for mood. That's what I was kind of hoping for today.
yeah. Mood support, just support. You know, we started drinking tea together. I mean, partly because you and I enjoy talking together, partly because we like tea a lot, and partly to take a break, have a breather, and sort of try to, at the very least, get a little breathing room or context on what we're going through right now. You know, it started in the beginning of this, or in the middle of this past 12 weeks, the coronavirus sort of getting to the point that it is right now. That's where we started, right? And so I guess I will say I can use a breath right now, and I don't know. I'm struggling with sense making.
Yeah, I can't make sense of this. I mean, I'm uh I'm a I'm just like I want to break stuff. I understand that feeling, and I understand why people are breaking stuff. I want to. I have a lot of rage right now.
Yeah, me too. Um, I think that's, here's what I think about that. If me, if I sitting in my life and myself right now feels this much rage and confusion and anger and hurt, I don't even know how to make sense of how much is out there, because I've got it easy compared to so many people, and it just feels like, I don't know. So it scares me a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm feeling this, how can, I don't know. I only know myself, but it just feels, the thing that enrages me is if I feel this way, what must it feel like?
What must it feel like?
What must it feel like to not feel safe a lot of the time? What must it feel like to not feel like you get to play the game of life in the same way as everyone else all the time? I don't know. It pisses me off. Put on these glasses today because I feel like a raw wound, and somehow it felt like that would, it almost feels like a shield. Do you know what I mean? These are my computer glasses. I don't need them to see the screen right now, but it just, uh, I hope you wouldn't mind me saying this, but you know, Tony, who works with us, is like one of the wisest people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right as I was walking to get my hot water and stopped, she was in the break room and said, "Hi, Anthony, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm okay." And we talked a little bit, and she said, "My son, uh, my son is protesting in California. My daughter is a police officer here in Chicago." And then she'd insist, but her son-in-law, her daughter's husband, is a black man, and she said, and he's very supportive of her. It's very complicated right now. You know, it is. It's one thing I keep coming back to as I was thinking about what to talk about and how I feel, and as I drink this tea. Um, some things feel very simple, and some things feel very complicated right now. And I thought maybe I'd just say a few things on each side, at least one thing. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk. So part of the reason we're sitting here having a hard time speaking is there's so much that's happened in the past week. But let's be honest, there's so much that's been happening for decades and decades. Actually, hundreds of years, but let's at least start with decades. That is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not hard. That's not complicated. That's simple. And this isn't about me, so I don't want to make it about my emotions because I'm just having a hard time. I'm an emotional person in general. So please, I'm not feeling bad for myself. I'm feeling bad for the world, for my friends, for people that I consider my family, for people that I don't even know. Feeling bad for a lot of people. But the simple thing it is not okay. It is not okay to live in a society where we have people die needlessly in a effed up power dynamic, you know, where the powerless die at the hands of people who have authority. It's not okay. That's not complicated. If you can't see that that's not complicated, then my feeling is you have to listen to people and stop talking. Look around, start paying attention. You know?
Yeah. You know, I was like spinning this weekend and I played like a bunch of 30-year-old songs that feel more relevant now than they did then to me.
Yeah.
And they were seen as over the top ways to scream and get attention to a problem back then. Like, yes, that was a problem, but making a, they're exaggerating it to call attention to it.
And that was decades ago. That
It's 30
was,
years ago, so
well, probably even more, 70s, right? 70s,
some of that 70s, 80s, but I mean, even the rap songs from the 80s, it's like, what? I mean, if anything, that was the most understatement of the century.
yeah. I listened to your set, which was somewhat cathartic for me this weekend, I have to say. So thank you for that. But the sad thing that you're saying, which is true, is those things that we thought people were being bombastic, even if you agreed with it, you're like, wow, they're really trying to bring attention to it. And now it sadly now feels like, why didn't anyone listen to this little whisper about this thing? Right?
And on top of that, it's like it's not like you know, they I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like they didn't have camera phones all the time then. This was probably happening way more, you know?
Of course.
And we lived in like a where your average person was a lot less woke than they are now. And yet it feels how little have we traveled.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know people are sad out there and I know people are trying to find love and comfort and but I'm just rage. That's all I got right now. I'm pissed, man.
I feel you, brother.
And I have these kids here. You can't explain. My kids are little. I can't even explain or begin to really scratch the surface of that shit with them yet, you know? Which is almost a gift because, wow, at least when I talk to them, I can escape for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
And they just wake up and just bring delight with them everywhere, you know? But
Yeah,
my daughter, Cora, she could feel it. Something was weird.
I know.
She knew it all weekend.
Yeah, and it's not like you're sitting there watching the news and
We don't watch the news here. If I check the news, it's on my phone in another room.
yeah, yeah.
She knew something wasn't right, you know?
To go on that parenting tangent for a second, it's like I have a different situation, obviously, because my girls are old enough to know pretty in a pretty nuanced way how crazy and messed up this whole situation is, you know? And I think that I have conflicting emotions, I have conflicting feelings about how much do I let them know that I'm totally enraged and find this intolerable and unacceptable. And then you have this feeling of being a parent where you feel like, is that too much despair for a young person to handle? Do you know what I mean? And I don't have an answer for this. It's just, I'm just being honest. I just have this wavering feeling of like, I owe it to them to let them know this is not okay, you know? But I also have this feeling of like, I gotta, make sure that they have some hope that the world is salvageable, even if I don't always think it is, feel like it is. I just, there's a lot of information coming here. Thank you for all the hearts, everybody. They're meant for you guys. This is to share. They're meant for all of us because we all need it. Mary Josephine, hello. John, hello. Adrian Sanchez, good to see you. Alicia, thank you
What
for
up,
your
Chief?
comments. Cheryl, Jilly, Therese, thank you for joining us, taking a breath together. So I don't know. I started with this idea that some things are simple and some things are complicated. The idea that situation that we have is not acceptable is very simple to me. And I don't think that shouldn't be controversial. That shouldn't be coming from one side or the other. It's just not acceptable. The complicated thing is, at least to me, what do we do right now that can be productive, helpful, moving things in the right direction, whatever that is, even in the tiniest way, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Sid and Tatum, I agree. We're definitely not saying anything that anger is not normal and good. I mean, not or normal, that's not normal or that it's not good or that it's not, doesn't need to be felt and processed. But let's be honest with any emotions. Most of us keep them in check in a to degree that can be unhealthy when they get to be overwhelming. And honestly, I'm an emotional person in general. So
And would this have even if people weren't already in the middle of this pandemic, would the point at which the water boils? I mean, people are on edge already, and I just, this is messed up, but I'm like, I'm grateful that this pushed it up because it's like, it's bullshit.
I know what you
If
mean.
people were comfortable, maybe people wouldn't be as angry.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean, but for me, I have that feeling and it's complicated too, you know? I'm having a hard time addressing every comment right now that I'm seeing pop up here, partly because I'm trying to hold it together and talk without losing it. But we did some prep. So I'm getting some comments, donate funds to bail out protesters, their organizations. Uh, we're going to post a bunch of things if you want to. There's some things we should do. Um, so we'll post those. That could be action on petitions, calls. There's a bunch of organizations that if you want to donate to, I think it might make sense to do that. I think part of the thing that I wanted to do today, and I felt like, I'll be honest, I was scared to do it because who am I? I'm not speaking for anyone. I can't speak for anyone but myself. But I feel like I'm just having a hard time finding people processing the amount of information and just like talking about the emotions that are going on right now. And I feel like the information, it's enraging. It's scary, you know? I'll be honest, it's scary too. Because like when things boil over, even if there's justification for boil over, it feels, it's hard to feel comfortable. And not feeling comfortable is probably what a lot of us need to a greater degree than we're used to. I know that for me. But that's not easy to face. Help me out, Jay.
I got nothing, man. I don't know what to say. Just trying to keep my shit together right now. I mean, Greta's Greta's a doer, She jumps into immediately. She is not she is an incredibly sensitive human being, but she doesn't let it paralyze her. She goes and she's like, what's the first actionable thing I can do? So she made this huge list of places you can donate, where you can sign petitions, where you can make calls, what you can read, what you can listen to, how you can how you can begin to have the conversation. I don't think I'm ready yet to have that. I'm like, I think we should link it all up below if people are there. That's great. I'm just like, I just feel like I'm going to snap. So I'm just kind of like, I'm just trying to breathe and stay calm. And I don't really have much beyond that right now, man.
That's fair enough. Um, yeah, Cheryl and Sid and Tatum. Like I said, if they're not already up, I'm not seeing it, but we're going to post a bunch of things that could donate to. I guess, Jay, the thing that I want to say is that, like, uh, we need more people. This is a fraught conversation to get into because I think that people's natural tendency is to get defensive about who they are, myself included. And, it's hard not to be under attack when people say things like, you have a lot of privilege and you need to investigate that. But that doesn't make it less true. So while I think donations are great, actions to help people are great, I keep coming back to, like, probably the most important thing that we need is not a focus on the people that need help. It's a focus on opening our fucking eyes. That's all of us. And I feel like, you and I are in an interesting position sometimes. And I feel like, again, I don't know. It's like when I talk about this, I feel weird, but it's like,
I know what you're saying.
we're half Pakistani, half
I know what you're saying.
white German American
So Greta
kids.
was
And
asking me the other.
what's that?
Greta was asking me about this the other night.
It's like we're but, like, let's be honest. I pass as whatever I want to pass as. And when Greta and I talked about this earlier, and I was said, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm not like, who cares whether I am white, whether I'm brown, whether whatever. The fact is, I'm pretty damn privileged, right? I have a business, I have a home, I have a lot of things that were given to me, and I worked hard, but I worked hard with starting on third base compared to many other people. And I feel like if you want to do something, whoever you are, but especially if you are someone who is privileged and is not sort of, if you're not walking around afraid that the color of your skin is going to lead the police to mistake you for doing something bad and end up with you or your family dying, then guess what? You have it pretty good. And the work you need to do, and by you, I mean we need to do, is to go on and get educated about, it's not about checking your feelings about other people or your explicit racism or lack thereof. It's about acknowledging that the system is set up, that some people are screwed from the beginning. And if we don't do that, and you don't acknowledge that, I don't care if you're born on first, second, third, but wherever you're born, you got to know that. And if you don't, you're not part of the solution in the way that you should be. That's my opinion. Speaking for myself here, but that's my feeling in general. And I think if you look at the work out there, there's a good amount of work, and I think we can post it up too, although I don't think I have it in this list, about like anti-racism work. That's not racist, it's anti-racism work. And that's not that shouldn't be on the backs of those who are the targets of racism. It should be on the backs of those who are not, equally or even more so than those who are. More so, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, if you're going to look for donation, great, donate. If you have money, donate to something that helps right some wrongs. But more importantly, this isn't going away, because let's be honest, whatever happens in 2 weeks, there's less concern, hopefully I say, because hopefully there's not more incidents, but there's less concern that we're all thinking about this on a day-to-day basis than there is right now. So the work has to be done at home. You know? It has to be done with all of us. So I've been doing it And like I said, I don't identify only as being white, but it's part of who I am. One thing that I started listening to is this podcast called Seeing White. It's called Seen on Radio, and the season 2 is Seeing White. I'm only 2 episodes in, but it was part of just like, how do I start thinking about like what's going on in this world? So that's one of the things. I know we've been, as a family, trading around a lot of good podcasts, books, videos, things that people should look at. And so if it's not up already, we will post it. But please do some work. If you're someone who's questioning what you can do some work. And then go talk about it. Have the uncomfortable conversations. You know, I see my family on here right now. Yeah, there's some people that I really love on here. But let's be honest, with a lot of people we love, we don't often talk about things that are hard or challenging or that might make us all feel accused or under the spotlight in an uncomfortable way. That's what we should be talking about right now. Not, oh my God, look at the looting, or look at this, or look at that. Yeah, those are problems for sure. But those don't happen in a vacuum. So it's okay to worry about that, but the work that needs to be done is deeper. You know, we started, Greta and I were talking about saying the names of sort of, saying the names of the people who recently have died. And it was hard for me to even think about doing that, but I want to do it. And I want to make a larger point. So we have George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. But then I said to Greta, like, the messed up thing about this is like, where do you stop? I could be reading a list of names for hours. And then if you talk about this goes on for decades, it could be for the rest of the day. It could go on and on. And that is so, so painful. You know, so messed up. That's so messed up. That's not complicated, people. There's not two sides to that. There's no points to be made that says like, well, this side has a point or that side has a point. No, that is messed up. If you're watching, if you join us, thank you for joining us. If only at least to just collectively share some emotions and just feel this feeling. My stomach's on fire right now. That's all I got for today. Have some difficult conversations. Please do that with each other, with your friends, with your family, with yourself. Do some work. It's not an accusation. I'm speaking to myself right now, not from any high place.
All right, man. We'll see
All
y'all
right.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Have a good night. Good day. Be safe.